on this episode of What's in Kieshas Jars. The other day, as I had all my jars lined up and we had family over, and I thought, it's so normal to me, but they're probably like, what in the world does she have? Looks like a lab. This one is oregano oil. This is like an all-natural antibiotic, and it's been going since August 4th. So really I could go ahead and strain this one out because it's been a month, and it's in olive oil because we'll take this internally or topically as an antibiotic. This one is propolis that I took from our hives when we got honey. I could have taken so much more, but it just takes a lot of time and effort, and this is really concentrated. So again, when you're sick, that's what propolis is good for. This is actually really good for COVID. These I need to strain out. But
that looks like something dead.
What? Robert makes fun of me. This is cleaning vinegar. So these are just orange peels.
She's a witch, may we burn. Sorry, go ahead.
We have found the witch, may we burn her?
These are orange peels with vinegar that come with all-purpose cleaning solution. What else do
we have this whole like pantry. I mean, I know a lot of this is like canned goods here, but
well, these are all my herbs.
Somebody asked me if I was crunchy the other day, and I was like, yes, I have a whole shelf full of herbs.
This is my apothecary.
Qualify that is.
All up there. I actually need to do something with those today, and then my garlic. And I need to make fermented garlic, which is kind of on my list today, but I don't think I'm gonna have time. So over here, of course, we have honey. These are some tinctures that are now finished that I set out to remind myself to press out. This is French tree bark. This was Chinese skullcap, and I did press this one out the other night. Apples for the kids to snack on. These are like sun-dried tomatoes. I put these in the dehydrator, and they're in some high-quality olive oil. We've got beeswax over there to be rendered, things that people have bought that I need to get to them. At any given point in time, there is sourdough going, fresh milk flour, I don't know, what's in my jars. These are what's in my jars. So I'm gonna press this out or strain it out now, and this is what we will be working with for the all-purpose salve. So you can purchase pre-rendered or like already rendered tallow, or you can render it yourself. There's lots of videos. One day I'll make a video, but there's lots of videos out there on how to do it. Speaking of like random things around, these are miniature watermelon seeds I was drying out, so I need to put those away. And I will probably put more oil in this after I press it out and let it set again, because it still has a lot of good constituents in it. This would make like an amazing poultice, actually. It's just like where you wrap it up in some cloth and you put it directly on like a wound, specifically this mixture. This mixture I put together myself of just a whole bunch of healing herbs, and I'll put the recipe down in the notes of what all I use. I mean, you can really make it your own, you can change it up. I just have a specific recipe so that it stays consistent for people who might be purchasing it from me, or I gift and then they want to know what's in it. It's easy if it stays consistent. But I think there's like 9 or 10 different herbs. And then I try to use the whole herb, but there's a few things we'll use essential oils in as well. I know like there's newer information out there on the essential oil. It's not the whole part, and so it's better to use the whole plant, which is true. But there's some that are just hard to get, and they don't smell as fragrant, and people like it to smell good, especially like lotion. And see, this is how I end up with random jars, because I'm like, oh, I'll come back to this later and fill it up with oil. And I set it over here. If I remember right, I'm going to strain this one more time. I think this is a cup. I think that's how I did it. I'm going to line that so that it... You can just chat while you... I don't know. My scissors are always stolen from my children. I'm going to line this so it'll catch some of these little herby bits, which it's really not a big deal if they're in there, but you'd be able to feel them in lotion. So I'll try to catch it. There we go, it's pretty pure. Okay, so we're right at a cup, which means I need to now melt down 2 cups of the tallow. So that's what we'll do next. And I don't really know what that will turn into, so I'll just melt it and then I'll measure out a cup each. So this one's for my mom. She had something specific she asked for, so we're gonna pour 1/4 of a cup in here for her. And then that means I'll put 1/2 a cup of the tallow in. And we'll see how much lotion we get. I may save some aside for myself as well.
This is what the tallow used to look like. This is the original form from the butcher.
Yeah, so whenever you start to render it down, I do it in my Instant Pot with water and salt. A lot of the meat bits will float to the top. The cool part is I can scoop out the meat bits and give those to the pigs, actually, and they eat it up. So we don't waste anything from it. All right, so now I'm going to render down this into a pan. You can do whatever pan you want. If I'm just using it for cooking, sometimes I'll use my cast iron so that it just gives it a nice good season. But since we're keeping it really clean for skincare, I'll put it in a stainless pot. This is not a cast iron pot. It confuses people. I mean, it is a cast iron enameled pot, but it's not straight cast iron. So there's a coating on it. And since we're doing skincare, I'm gonna keep it cleaner. We will just start with these pieces right here. The one thing with melting it back down is you don't want it to get too hot. So, I mean, I do have it probably on medium right now, but once it starts melting pretty quick, I'm even gonna turn it down to low. You don't want it to burn. Prior, when I rendered it, I could have it at a higher temperature, but that's because I had water with it. That's why I like the water rendering method, so you don't burn it. But once there's no water left in it like this, you don't want to burn it. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down. I'm going to do my mom's first. So she wanted rose and sandalwood in hers. So it'll be the same concoction of oil, but the actual like smell to it will be the rose and the sandalwood, which I'm assuming is gonna be really good. Oh, that's different. Okay, should have taken that out. So we're gonna start with 20 because I usually would do 40. Is it gonna go? 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, now we're gonna do the sandalwood. There we go. You want it pretty strong because once it whips up with the tallow, it's going to dilute it quite a bit, and it's lotion. So if you want it to have a pretty strong smell, then it has to be kind of strong on the onset of it. With the balm, I don't really care if the smell is strong or not because the whole point of that is for healing. But for a lotion, you want it to be lovely. So now, again, we're going to go ahead and add, since we've got a quarter of a cup, we will add 3/4 total. So 1/2 a cup of the tallow. I'm just going to go ahead and pour that in here because this is what we're going to use to whip it up. I still think I want it stronger. I'm not used to working with those specific oils, so it kind of takes some playing with. That's why once you get a formulation down that you like, write it down, because you'll want to be able to recreate it pretty easily, which I should probably be writing this down. But good news is I'm filming it, so I can go back and look at it. So if I were to just pour this directly into these tins, it would then become a salve. But if you want to whip it up like lotion, using an immersion blender is going to emulsify it a bit. Okay, now that it's mixed up, I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it cool down for a bit. And and then we'll do that again, and that's what will give us the lotion. So now we're back to our bigger formulation here. This is just for the salve. So I've got 3/4 of a cup left, which means I need, what, 1.5 cups? Yep, 1.5 cups of tallow. So we will go ahead and look at the recipe so I can put in the oils. I turned that on. $40. Okay, here goes the oil. We're gonna do 1.5 cups to that 3/4 cup of oil that had the herbs in it. I'm still going to take the immersion blender to this to mix it up and emulsify it really well before we pour it into our little tins. Get our little tins ready. I'm so excited about these, and I made these little labels for them that are super cute. You can't really see them right here, but they're just on paper. You know, if I was gonna sell these like big time, then they would need to have something to protect them, especially since this is an oil based, but just for fun, they work. About 30. Alright, that looks good. Okay, so now that it's cooled off, it's more of like the salve mixture that it's going to be, but I don't let it get all the way hard. And we'll come back over here with the emulsion blender. I already did mine, and that's why the parts are messy already, but you'll see it come together. It depends on how thick you want it. If you want it more of like a full cream, like a body cream, you could keep going. It will still harden up after this. If you want to put it in a bottle that you're going to squirt out, you could keep it just like this. I'm going to keep it. And see how there's little pieces that collect right there of the oil? That won't get emulsified. So you do have to kind of knock that down to get emulsified, or it'll sit at the top later. You can kind of see it sitting at the top right now. It's kind of like making mayo, if you've ever made mayo. And I'll show you what it looks like in the jar where it's hardened up a little. All right, so here it is, all hardened up. You can see the consistency. Right there, you can see the consistency. That I like mine a little bit thicker. So if you want it to squirt out in a lotion bottle, you just wouldn't want to emulsify it as long. But it's the coolest thing that I've learned how to do. I know everything that's in it, and it's so much cheaper than purchasing tallow-based lotion.